Use code Proxidist for 20% off any tub at G Fuel. All purchases help go towards supporting the channel. There are a lot of games out there that I don't really enjoy. There's many reasons as to why I don't enjoy these games, but it sucks, you know? I wish I could enjoy every single game under the sun. I'd probably be a very happy person if I was able to do that. Luckily enough for me though, some of these games that I don't like actually have experiences and DLCs that they kind of bring me back around to the game, you know? I start to actually like them, but it's usually because the DLC is like 20 times better than the actual game itself. Obviously this is subjective, it's dependent on the game, but I wanted to talk about some DLCs that I really like in games that I don't like, and even in some games that I hate, because I feel like this is an interesting topic, you know? And the first DLC I want to talk about is from Dead Island 2. That DLC is the House DLC. Now, Dead Island 2 is a game that I really do not like. I played through the entire thing with my good friend Andre. We both hated the entire experience. If you want a review of Dead Island 2, just go play Dying Light. That's my honest thoughts on it. But the House DLC is a completely different experience, because the House DLC is such a separated thing from the base game of Dead Island 2, which means you're not wandering around the horrific place known as Los Angeles, which is actually one of the reasons I don't like Dead Island 2. I hate the setting, and I live in the UK. Alright, that's coming from me. The House DLC takes place in this weird, surreal mansion, which is owned by some weird cult that prays to some god that keeps them alive, despite the fact every single member is dead. It's incredibly strange. I was instantly hooked on the narrative because it is really weird, and I wanted to see where it went, and it basically has us going around this mansion, which has a bunch of looping environments with surreal visuals, looking for the heads of these cult members so they can let us in to speak to their god. That's the best way I can describe it. It is really interesting. It's really cool. I actually had fun playing through Dead Island 2. It made me realize that as much as I don't think the gameplay is all that great, it wasn't the main thing putting me off. The shit the main character says during the DLC is obviously annoying as fuck, because the main characters in Dead Island 2 just never shut up, and it is incredibly annoying, but it was still an interesting story. I had a really good time playing through it. I would play it again to put it in perspective, but that requires going through Dead Island 2 again, and I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. But yeah, the House DLC was good, even though I hate Dead Island 2. Now, a game I don't hate, but I don't really get as much as other people, is Fallout New Vegas. And to be honest with you all, I like all the DLCs in Fallout New Vegas, which is really strange because I've been very vocal about how I don't really enjoy Fallout New Vegas. I think it's a janky piece of shit game that requires modding to be even playable in the slightest. And that's mainly because of the crashing issues it has on PC, because that game is made for old hardware. So if you have anything that was made after 2011, you're fucked. You have to download mods to put that game on live support. There's 4 DLCs for Fallout New Vegas, and I like all of these, but my favorite is easily Dead Money, and that's mainly because of how much of a contrast it is to the main game, because you start that with no weapons whatsoever. It is a completely different tone to everything else you've experienced. It is honestly bordering on horror. It's quite an unsettling DLC, and it's also pretty linear. Like, you have an explosive collar around your neck that starts beeping and will explode if you go off the beaten path too much. And it's also really hard. Like, you get this sense that you're playing a survival horror game with the amount of resource management and how quickly you can die due to combat encounters or just going the wrong direction. I love how every environment looks. I love all the characters in the DLCs, just the way it all plays out. I love the message at the end, how you're getting all this gold, but it just weighs you down, so you can't actually take the thing you were going in for. Wealth doesn't make you happy, it just weighs you down. It's a beautiful message. I don't even know if that is the actual message, but I have a friend, I remember he told me he took all the gold and walked all the way back to the Mojave. He was dedicated to Fallout New Vegas, and we were a lot younger back then, and we had way more time on our hands because none of us were employed. I wish we could go back to that time. I hate being employed. But yeah, I like Dead Money. I would say Lonesome Road is just below that, then it's Old World Blues, and at the bottom is Honest Hearts. Honest Hearts is good, but it's the least interesting compared to the others, in my opinion. I know it's got that Joshua Graham, I think he's called, guy, the bandaged up fella that everyone loves, but yeah, I don't really care. The next game I want to talk about is Borderlands 3. Oh boy, this is the game that ruined the Borderlands series for me. I was such a huge Borderlands shill before Borderlands 3 came out. I played the shit out of Borderlands 2. I thought the pre-sequel was great. I actually shilled the pre-sequel quite a lot to my friends and played through it with them. Borderlands 1 was okay, but it was the game that started it all, so it's obviously going to be a bit rough around the edges. But Borderlands 3... it plays better than all of them, but I don't think I've played a game where a story has ruined it for me, because I've always been a gameplay first type of guy, but like, God, Borderlands 3's story, it just, you can't, like, you can't enjoy that shit. It's awful. I don't even know how to describe it. It feels like pulling your eyelashes off one by one playing through that shit. But the DLCs, completely different story. There's 4 of them, just like New Vegas, but unlike New Vegas, I don't actually like all of these ones. The 2 I want to talk about is the Handsome Jack Casino one and the Lovecraftian Horror Wedding one. The Handsome Jack Casino one was the first DLC to drop, and it was actually out by the time Borderlands 3 came to Steam, so I was able to jump into this one pretty much straight away. It was such a palate cleanser after playing the normal game of Borderlands 3. They brought back Timothy, Handsome Jack's doppelganger from the pre-sequel. He's a main character in this DLC, and I used to play the shit out of him in the pre-sequel, so it was great to see. We get to fight the loader bots again, you know, the Hyperion robot enemies, the yellow fuckers that are extremely weak to corrosion. So every enemy was really satisfying to fight. It wasn't completely insufferable with the story. If anything, the worst part of the story was it was a bit uneventful. Like, I don't actually remember much that happens in it, but I had a good time playing through it. I loved the environment. A space casino is a really cool concept for an area. And then the Lovecraftian Horror one is in this giant ice planet, which is just a Lovecraftian DLC. I don't know what else to say about this one. It looks amazing. They bring back Gage, the Vault Hunter from Borderlands 2, who I think is a fan favorite. I actually haven't played through Borderlands 2 as her again. I plan on playing Borderlands 2 again, so yeah, I'd say that one had a more interesting story, but it still wasn't great. It was a Borderlands story, but again, the environments were a blast to go through. The enemies were a joy to fight. I had such a good time playing through these 2 DLCs specifically, and I really hope Borderlands 4 has good DLCs as well, because I actually liked the base game of Borderlands 4 compared to Borderlands 3, so here's hoping. Now, the last game I want to talk about is Destiny 2. Which might be a bit weird considering the fact, you know, I fucking hate Destiny 2. I think it is the biggest piece of dog shit ever made, but I have a history with this game, alright? I bought it at launch when it was on the Blizzard launcher, alright? I played through the campaign of it and I actually enjoyed it. What was it called? The Red War? I enjoyed it, right? It was a good time. Played through it, didn't touch it again until it came to Steam and it was free to play. And all my Destiny friends were raving about this DLC called Forsaken. It was good shit, honestly. I bought it, I spent 20 quid on that shit, right? Which hurts considering the fact they fucking removed it and you can't actually play it anymore. So this is actually me reminiscing about a DLC that I can never play again because Bungie had this weird idea about quote-unquote sunsetting games. It's as stupid as it sounds, but Forsaken was about Cayde 6, who was like a fan favorite character, you know, the witty robot. I think he was voiced by Nathan Fillion, and then it was Nolan North. I think they switched between the 2. I don't remember which one voices him in Forsaken, but it's basically about him dying. So the stakes feel high in the DLC. The stakes never really felt high in Destiny, considering the fact everyone had a ghost that revived them an infinite amount of time because of some light shit. I don't know. I don't really care either, but the stakes felt high in Forsaken, and literally the first mission is like defending a prison from a prison break, and it is so good. It is such a good set piece mission. The music goes incredibly hard, and it makes me wish that Destiny 2 was just a linear first-person shooter single-player game. I don't know why it's an MMO with a bunch of loot shit. Like, who fucking cares? Why don't they just make a spin-off of the Destiny series and like just make linear FPS stories from it? I don't understand why Bungie haven't done that yet. Ooh, live service is where the money's at. Your game's dying, fellas. Just make standalone spin-offs that are linear and are like Forsaken. I don't understand why that's so hard. I know development costs are high, but like, you're spending all that money on fucking... I don't even know what they're spending that money on. I don't know. Listen, Forsaken was great, and the fact they removed that shit, just like the game it's from, it's fucking baffling. Dog shit game. But yeah, those are some DLCs that I like in games that I don't really like. Let me know in the comments some DLCs that you might like in games you don't. I'd be really interested to know. And if any of you say the DLCs in The Evil Within, you are just wrong, because like the base game of The Evil Within is absolutely peak. The DLCs didn't really stand much chance on being as good as the base game of The Evil Within, although the Keeper DLC in The Evil Within is amazing. It is good shit. Letting us play as the boss, it's like Silent Hill making a DLC where you can play as Pyramid Head. It's cool, it's experimental. The Evil Within is the best game ever made, and you already know that. Before I go, I just want to plug my main channel here. I've only just recently uploaded a big 30-minute analysis video on Devil May Cry 2, which is one of the worst games I've ever played, so if you want to see me suffer, go check that out on the main channel. There'll be like an info card, and I'll also put it on the end screen. So yeah, check that out. Now, none of this would have been possible without my Patreon supporters. And that is Nintendo Pro, Profit, Ryan IDC, Pitstab, Bouncer Storm Productions, and Daniel Levchenko. You guys are the best. And this also goes to my channel members. That being Evan Underhill 2342, Bidoo for Doom, Gabriel Padro 5589, Scary 1407, Eteria Sigma. You added Sigma to your name? Alright. Eggy 613, Wentel 77, Riff King 66, Dizrays 3250, Sobitax, Liam Talks About, Andreas Stewart 8871, Ethank 78, Galaxy 11243, Simon Telmac 3422, Floaty38, Wolfborn TV, Rust on Wood, L Hayes 117, also known as some balding guy rambling into the void, Griefgar, and the OG Resistance line. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. I really appreciate it, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.